So check this out. I told Belle this. Ken, Friday I get a text from my son's mom. A kid brought a loaded gun to school, ready to use it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, they'd take him down, and in Mira Mesa, California, they caught him because they thought he might have been involved in another crime, and he came to school and they confronted him, and there was a big fight, and sure enough, he was loaded for bear. Why though? Nobody knows. So I'm like, Jack, was it a gang thing?
Yeah.
Was it? He's like, nobody knows. I mean, they haven't really told us. They just sent out all these emails about, school's on super lockdown. Kids are basically hid away. They've taken the person into custody. Today at school, there was tons of cops and stuff because they're worried about repercussions. And I'm like, it feels like more of a gang thing because they wanted him for another crime.
Yeah.
But, when you're a kid, that still scares the bejesus out of you. And he was a little worried. And I said, yeah, you're going to be fine. There's some nut jobs, but I said it sounds like a gang because they were following him from another crime that I don't know if it was breaking and entering or something like that. So they were on to him for something. And I don't,
Good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing.
Did you ask him if the kid had any facial tattoos?
I did not. I should have. But the only thing we were told is he was wanted for other crimes in the area. So I don't think I said that seems more like a person that is not so much an angry shooter as a person who is, I said, probably had beef with somebody.
Yeah, targeting.
Yeah.
He had somebody he was targeting.
Yeah. I said, so don't, he said a lot of the kids are nervous because they're not telling them a lot.
Yeah.
Which you can't because it's a youth, but you need to inform some of these kids, hey, look, it's going to be okay. We have no threats to the school, and this wasn't about just coming in and shooting everybody. This was more about, he wanted to kill Timmy, and Timmy wasn't here today. So it was, but, because you don't know at first, and they locked it down, he said. They locked it down. Kids running for cover and stuff, and I said, it's going to be all right. I think you just want to know sometimes because the less that you know, the more you worry about stuff because then it starts running in your mind. What about this? What about that?
It's like you can, instead of having facts, you just throw in conjecture.
Yeah, that's it. And you're living out why this person's here for this or why this person was there for that, why this person. I said it sounded like because he had a handgun, apparently, it sounded like he was there for somebody. And they're not even saying if the kid went to school there, which is another thing. So I said, that's also another thing. It's just scary, though, when you're a kid.
Absolutely.
We had, when I was a kid, we had some kids, some people who brought guns to school. It was totally a different time. It's like, they were like, you're suspended for a week. It was a different, time. But in today's world, because especially since Columbine, this weird world of kids and anger and pissed offness and going to school and doing things, it is this top of them. I never worried about a kid coming back to my school, wherever I was, and shooting up the place because they were angry and pissed. I worried at times, about slow-moving cars at PE, a couple of the schools I went to, because it was the time of drive-bys. And we had lots of gangsters at our, school, but I never worried about a kid coming back like they do now. I worried about, earthquakes. We used to have because it was the Cold War, we'd have the duck under your desk just in case a nuclear bomb strikes. So they know where you are, I guess.
Still one of the most ridiculous things that government has ever put out.
Okay, so what exactly happens here? We melt on our desk? Why would I do that? Why don't I just melt here sitting comfortably?
No, this 3/4-inch piece of wood is going to protect you from an atom bomb.
Yeah. It's funny, this guy, or 1803 said when we were kids, we had rifles in the back of windows of our truck. My friend Becky Lynn, she's from Knoxville, and she was our news lady out in Arizona, and she used to say, she had this big Southern accent. She goes, all the kids had guns back then in the back of their car.
Yep.
Kind of like a Red Dawn.
Oh yeah, we did it in my little Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. Man, everybody had a gun in their car.
Yeah. So it was it's just a different time where you've got this situation here though, where it's not about the gun. It's about the instability of the youth. I mean, we've been talking about this kid who killed Charlie Kirk, how did he twist off, and this furry world that he lived in? I was telling Belle, how do you get to that point where you think, you know what, you'd be sexier if you were a mouse, a giant mouse with pom-poms. You're like, how do you get to this weird world like this? And the internet takes you into some dark places, and it's scary. You don't worry about stuff like when I was a kid like that. You're worried about maybe fist fight, getting jumped, never really about getting stabbed. But you never worried about somebody twisting off and walking into school and killing a bunch of people.
Nope, didn't even think about it.
Never once did I think about it. Never once. And then after Columbine, it's just like the rise of this, has just grown and grown and grown to the point where I can guarantee you, here we are sitting here in first day of fall in about an hour. But between now and the end of the year, do I think there's probably going to be another school shooting or two? Unfortunately, yes.
Absolutely. It's no longer if.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's no longer if. And the whole thing is it's just how bad is it? Like even with Charlie Kirk being shot that day in Denver, just outside in Colorado, there was kids shot at a school.
2 kids.
Yeah.
And then the shooter apparently turned the gun on himself.
But because of what happened to Charlie Kirk, that got, and this kid had become radicalized and went down, a rabbit hole of craziness in the dark webs and the worlds that you don't even think about, you can't even see. We've got a real issue here in this country. And I just feel like it's getting worse, and we know where it's at. It's in the internet. It's in a certain area. It's young men who are out of school, young men that are in school. And it is getting worse. And we've got to start addressing this thing in a serious way. Because, I like I said, I have never, ever once in my life been worried about my kids going to school. And now you sit there and go, geez. And even my son was very upset about it because, again, there's, like you said, conjecture. There's all this in your mind. What happened? Why was he here? Could he come back? But it's 24/7. It's nonstop. Like we said, by the end of the year, there will be another shooting. It's not if, but when. And that is a scary situation. Scary, scary situation that we live in, that we've got this many kids who are unstable and have access, which is another, crazy thing. Because mom and dad, too, you guys aren't paying attention out there, right? That your kid's twisting off. You have no idea. Your kid's twisting off. He's pulling back a little bit.